Why we love animal tarot decks. Everyone has a favorite animal, or at least a few favorite animals they like to see or spot, or like many of us in the spiritual community like to work with as a type of animal energy. Now, this sounded a little silly to me for the longest time, have to be honest, have to admit, until something clicked and I realized that I had actually been doing this thing, working with animal energy, my entire life for as long as I can remember. And as a tarot reader now, I am especially excited to see my animals in tarot or oracle cards. So we're going through a few cards in my collection of different decks while I talk you through the animal energies that I like to work with. In case you hadn't noticed, I have a new camera set up and I'm super pumped about it. I had actually bought the mic months ago, but I thought it was broken because it wasn't working on my GoPro. Went through a few stages with that, but eventually I just figured, you know what, I'm just going to get what I really wanted to get. So, you know, there's a learning curve with an upgrade like this. All I can do at this point is hope that it's already better image quality and sound quality for you to watch. So I hope that you enjoy that. You know, I'm just still messing with the settings here and there. Anyway, that was a little upgrade. Okay, anyway, back to the subject. I know that there are some tarot readers who do not like working with animal decks. Then other tarot readers, that's all that they want to work with. I am kind of like in the middle. I love working with decks that show people or entities, or, you know, forms, more abstract things. I myself have a few decks that I consider animal decks or animal-based decks. I do have a few, and my question to all of you who like it, why do we love working with animal decks? So I own a few, as I said. The Wildwood has a lot of animals. Crow's Magic Tarot is a deck that's very dear to me, has a lot of animal imagery. Then the Wild Unknown is an animal deck, and the Tarot of the Magical Forest is Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but with animals. Actually, I also consider the Living Altar Oracle that you can see in the background here with the spring card displayed is, I wouldn't say centered around animals, but there are definitely no, you know, humans in there, right? Anyway, so of course these are not the only decks, you know, the animal decks or animal-based decks. These are not the only decks that show animals. Also in decks that show people, or as I said, entities, there's often an added symbolism of animals in certain cards. So we're going to go through some of those as well. Now, I personally really like working with different types of decks, as I said. So, you know, animal decks or animal-based decks, but then also humans, entities, the whole abstract spectrum. But there is something special about working with decks that have animals, isn't it? I wouldn't say that I necessarily prefer it, but it's something about animals where there is a language that's being transmitted but not spoken out loud with words. And so it's a language that's not about words, it's more about feeling. It's more about being much more closely connected to nature. It's about instinct, and it's about just this different type of communication. You know, it's the more obvious connection to nature and each other also in a way. And there is still a soul there. So very interesting, very different type of energy I feel than, for instance, you know, the Rider-Waite-Smith, where we very clearly see people, humans. I feel, at least, I work differently with the Rider-Waite-Smith, for instance, than in the Wildwood, but still, like, all the court cards are animals. So it's a very different energy. So I'm saying this type of work that we can do is different than placing oneself into an image of a person on a card, than to try to step into the animal because we are working with a type of energy, a different type of energy, right? Here are two Queens of Wands, Rider-Waite-Smith, Centennial, and the Wildwood. So of course, very different depictions, but also just a very different feel, I think. And also within the Queen of Wands, actually, that's why I chose her. Are we stepping into the Queen of Wands herself? Or perhaps this little black cat is also part of that energy? The answer is yes, it is. It is part of that energy. The cat is a part of that energy. But, you know, what are we working with? What are we stepping into? And I don't know about you, but I always get this subtle kick out of seeing some of my favorite animals depicted in tarot or oracle cards, just because I love both so much, and then they kind of come together, you know? So my animals may or may not be very special, I don't know, but they are the elephant, the snail, the crow, and the dog. This is a black crow's feather I found in my street, and I have all of this stuff on my altar. And then over here is the dog, and these might be a little bit gross, I don't know, but for me it's very special. There's a nail in here that my poor little doggy lost, but you know, they grow back, so it's fine. And then a few whiskers that I just find in my home. And I actually want to make some jewelry out of this, perhaps a ring, because I like rings. Let's start with the elephant cards. Starting off with a great one, my favorite deck, the Triomphie de la Luna Paradoxical. This is the Temperance card, and I love it especially because there is this elephant here quenching its thirst. And perhaps after, you know, this very moment, rolling around in the cool mud to cool down on a very hot day. You know, this is the animal that I am geographically separated from, whereas with the other ones, they are in my immediate surroundings. You know, there are plenty of dogs here, plenty of crows, plenty of snails as well. Yeah, elephants is a little bit more challenging. Now, I guess I could go see a few elephants, including a recently born elephant at the local zoo, Artis, but zoos are no longer a place that I enjoy visiting. It's just not the way that it's supposed to be with animals, right? Anyway, there's also an elephant in the Thoth Hierophant. I feel that with elephants, there's a lot of understanding. They understand life, they understand death, they seem to understand love and, you know, family and friendship, and even understand time, meaning, you know, life and death. And I feel that there's a lot of wisdom there. They are very smart. I feel like every one of these animals are very smart. I don't really know about snails though, but probably are very smart, at least in their own way. You know, it's ridiculous also to put animals on human standards, because we don't know where south is. You know, we don't have that inner compass, at least. We have to look around and know. Whereas, I don't know, geese, for instance, they definitely know where to go fly off to. So about the Thoth, I have this book that says, flanking the Hierophant are elephants, which are associated with Taurus as beasts of burden. Now, this burden, you know, there are different ways of interpreting this. I interpreted it as carrying and transport, which is what these elephants are used for, right? But then also there's, of course, the burden of, it is a burden, isn't it, of having this wisdom, having enough intelligence to understand life and death, and then also mourning in a way. At least that's what I made out of it. But I think in this text they actually meant carrying transport. Okay, moving on to the snail. This is the Golden Rider, and usually there's a teeny tiny, very cute snail here, and I really like to use this deck in spring because of these beautiful colors. But I'll have to revert back to my trusty Centennial, where actually this teeny tiny little snail right there, looking at the Nine of Pentacles, one of the reasons I feel that this animal is here could be because of it carries around its house. It's very slow, obviously. It's relaxed, and I also feel that it's just enjoying. There is this sense of enjoyment, because me personally, and that might be just my own personal association with the snail. As a kid, I used to play with snails in our backyards and just, outside. And I let them walk all over or crawl all over my hands, and it felt really soothing, actually, in a way. That might sound gross again, I don't know, but these are just things that it's just the truth, just the way it is. But also, I kind of feel like in this card there is room to play. And also, I totally am her, because she is in this very secluded, safe space, within her garden. Then also in the Crow's Magic Tarot, this is the Eight of Cups. I guess this is a little hermit crab, might be. It's just very cute. Oh yeah, I don't even know if this is really true, but I think actually snails are hermaphrodites. And if we are to believe the tarot, if you will, the hermaphrodite is the goal in a way, where feminine and masculine powers and energies come together into this hermaphrodite in the world card, which is key 21, which is the last one of the whole cycle. So it's the last card in the tarot majors. And I believe that it means that snails have the ability to basically switch their biological sex to fit the mate that they find. I'm not sure if that's completely correct, but I think that's pretty much it. I find them really friendly, and therefore also just this sense of, again, understanding and just adaptation also within this beautiful world of just the whole of this shell. They feel relaxed. Their shell visibly holds this phi golden ratio, the divine proportion. Whether you believe in it, if it's a myth or a fact, or I don't really care personally, it's the Fibonacci sequence phi thing, the golden spiral. I don't really care. I choose to believe in the myth, even if it's just a symbolic thing towards the snail and this shell. Then looking at the crow, I have the first one is the Crow's Magic Tarot. We see black crows in the moon card, and in the wildwood it's part of the death or journey card. And in the wild unknown, it's actually the Hierophant again. Now, I feel that the crows are many different things. Again, very smart animals. They are like parrots. They can repeat what you say. And I feel that they are messengers between the worlds. They have these secrets. They know these secrets. And they are mysterious and, again, associated with death, actually. They are fully black. They are, again, as I said, they are really smart. They can adapt to their environments. They can solve puzzles. They can actually remember how to open something that takes multiple steps to open or to unlock, and then find the treat or find the food, which is why they do so well in many different environments. And then also, I just love that this animal is all black. It's just so just crows and ravens, basically, for me. That I know it's not the same thing, but I kind of like group them together. Okay, so dogs. Now I have this Fool card with a beautiful black dog. I again have this soft spot for just all black animals. I just love it. I feel that they're extra special in a way. I don't know why, but of course my dog is extra special. That is, of course, the animal out of all of these that I am most closely connected to. But the Fool, especially in the Druidcraft right here, I have this one on the box, is a companion. It's this trust in the universe, I feel. There is a vagabond energy. And also, there is this myth surrounding dogs, perhaps in ancient Egypt, I'm not sure where it came from, but that dogs have the ability to go through worlds. I think the world of the living and the world of the dead, but then also the conscience and the conscious and the and subconscious as well. So I have dreams, literally dreams, where my dog, Heart, emerges from this very apocalyptic scene, coming out of the flames, running towards me, rescuing me from this terrible moment, and that's the moment where I wake up. I'm not kidding, this actually happens. Then also, I just especially love cards with dogs depicted in them. I feel like I said that there's this extra trust, extra companionship, extra, I don't know, love and friendship in there. And also, you know, talking about this, that dogs also are associated, you know, with Anubis, like here, being able to step through the worlds. That here in the Ten of Pentacles, it also kind of makes sense where it's this end and new beginning of a sequence. And then here, of course, in the Thoth Hermit card, we have Cerberus, the three-headed dog. So yeah, the Rider-Waite-Smith Fool, typically a card with a dog or a cat in some Marseille decks. So what animals do you like and why? Do you own any decks with those animals depicted? Do you read those cards in a different way, perhaps a little bit more personal? Are those cards extra special to you? I'd love to hear. And thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next week.